أهلا بكم في إطلالة جديدة من برنامج لقاء أعمال في إكسبو. الخبرات الإماراتية برهنت على قدرة فائقة في استضافة أضخم الأحداث وأكبر المؤتمرات العالمية. إكسبو 2020 دبي أضحى ماركة اقتصادية عالمية في سماء التجارة الدولية. دبي اليوم أيقونة مدن العالم باستضافتها لأبرز حدث جامع للشعوب وشامل للطموحات. جلنا بكم في عديد من الأجنحة. جمال إكسبو يغرينا بمزيد من التجوال، لكل جناح خصائص، لكل جناح رسالة. في هذه الحلقة من برنامج لقاء عمل في إكسبو سنكتشف معا جناح أستراليا الذي يبدو كقطعة من هذا البلد الأكثر تنوعا عبر العالم. هذا الجناح من بين الأكبر في المعرض، من أكثرها ارتفاعا، شعاره حلم السماء الزرقاء. عادي أن يكون هذا الجناح في هذه المنطقة، منطقة التنقل. أستراليا بلد مبني على مفهوم التنقل منذ أقدم الأزمان وحتى العصر الحديث. أستراليا متعدد الثقافات، عريق في الابتكارات، وسنتعرف على المزيد في هذه الحلقة، بداية مع كارل دولينغ عضو مجلس الأعمال الأسترالي وقد وصل للتو. Carl, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Good. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. How's everything?
Good. Very good, thank you.
Carl, do you remember a few months ago you came here? It was all construction and we stood up over there.
Yes, yes.
Between two trees, you will tell me about them. And we talked about blue sky dreaming, this theme. We talked about Australian Pavilion. But it's ready.
Yes, the trees have grown, which is a good sign. It's like the whole Expo site's come live.
How did you find it?
Fantastic. It is mind-blowing, mind-blowing.
Carl, aren't you blessed with this pavilion? First, it is few meters from the entrance of the Mobility Pavilion, and it is exactly in front of the Mobility Pavilion Alif. Beautiful location.
Beautiful, beautiful. And right next door to a huge sport complex, which is just the Australian spirit right there.
A lot of activities in that sports complex. Tell me, what is distinguished about this pavilion?
I think it's unmistakable. Just the blue sky dreaming has come to life. Just you can see it sticks out a mile off. It's just the cloud and just the way it's been put together just really kind of shows what we've got to offer.
What blue sky dreaming is telling you? What is the meaning of this to you as an Australian?
It, to me, struck a perfect marriage of sorts between the Australian heritage, which is the dream time, the Aboriginal essence that we really now embrace more than ever, and just a wonderful blue sky. It's one thing you know about going to Australia is that blue sky is endless, and when you get off the plane and you look up, it is just one of the most, striking moments. So it really is just that perfect marriage of heritage and just the nature.
I remember in that episode you were very, let's say, emotional a little bit when you saw that tree. What is that tree exactly? What is its name and why it means a lot to Australian?
It's a eucalyptus tree, so we've got a couple in the background which have really grown, and it's great to see. A eucalyptus tree has a very distinct smell. We make eucalyptus oil out of it. It's in fact highly flammable, so you need to be a little bit cautious with it. But it's the smell. Whenever you go for a hike, you go for a bushwalk back home, you naturally will smell a eucalyptus tree a mile off, and it does just give you that little reminder that there's a little piece of home here, and it is special.
Yeah, it's like home, but here in Expo in Dubai. I understand now the feeling. You are wearing a pin that I see. Is it a koala?
Yes, yes.
It's the koala. It's the mascot of the pavilion.
Yes, yes.
Also, koala is something that is very important for Australia.
Yes, it's probably one of our more loved creatures. They are very cuddly. They're very cute but very lazy bears.
But we love them.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Not to be mistaken with the drop bear, but we'll cover that one another time.
Okay. I can see also there are the kangaroo. So the kangaroo is an animal that never go backward. Does it have a meaning about Australia vision, ambition, and moving forward for the whole nation of Australia?
Yeah, I mean, the kangaroo it's quite a good choice for the emblem of the Expo Pavilion itself. Kangaroos are one of our most common and unique animals to Australia, but yeah, they're creatures that move. They never stop. They're always covering a lot of land, and that again strikes with being next to the Mobility Pavilion.
True, moving. When I did the interview with you, Carl, a few months ago, you were the chairman of the Australian Business Council. Now you moved on. You're still, of course, a member. And tell me how that experience you had during your presidency, how did it went? How did it go?
It was sort of a natural progression. I've stood down as chair and just remain on the board, and I'm very passionate about the Australian Business Council and what we've been able to achieve in our lifespan. But effectively, I was blessed with having quite a long run up to Expo opening. So we had a few sneak peek events. We were able to come and have dinner here even before the Expo opened. So I was very blessed to be part of, I guess, the first to come in and have a look around. And it was exciting to see what was possible, but even just, again, looking at how these trees have grown in such a short time frame, it's really come to life, and I'm really excited to come around.
How
Expo.
about your experience as a chairman of Business Council, bringing the business together? And definitely you had an alliance with the pavilion, and we worked together to make this beautiful. What was your role, and how was your presidency during the last few years?
It's been quite fun, to be fair. We are blessed to have a good relationship with the Australian government, both the Foreign Affairs and Trade officers. And it's only through working together that you could really bring a pavilion like this to life. From the wood that you see that comes from Tasmania, again to the trees, to the cuisine that just samples a lot of Australia's delicacies. We can't do things like this without involving the community, and that was pivotal from the start. I actually remember it would have been 4 or 5 years ago, of course, that there was a roundtable breakfast meeting where a previous chairperson of the Australian Business Council just said to the Australian government representative there at the time, if you're not involved in Expo, just why be here? And
yeah. It's like you're out of history.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So it's that feedback two-way that works so well, and just for our members, I really hope that we've created some inroads, and not just the members of the Australian community in Dubai and the UAE, but throughout the Middle East, and even as Australia's opening up again, we can hopefully see some trade visitors coming over.
How do you see the Expo and the Australian Pavilion as an added value for your members and for yourself during a post-COVID era?
It provides, it's a ray of hope. That's what it is. That's what Expo has really done. It's given everyone that eye into, yeah, the world is going to move on. We're going to get back to normal. And here we are. We have somewhere to come and celebrate. And as the world opens up again. So again, seeing that trickle of trade visitors starting to come through Dubai already. Dubai's managed COVID so well. We hope to see more Australians coming here, and what we can then do by having one central area to congregate is that we can say, look, are you looking for opportunities here? Yeah. We may have members that have worked in a similar field for several years here already. Let's connect you, and let's see if we can lay a little pathway out for you.
A few months ago, UAE announced Projects of 50. It's a huge project for the next 50 years, and it tackles a lot of sectors. When they talk about the international cooperation and investment, Australia is one of the countries that they want to solidify the investment and cooperation and bilateral trade between the two nations. What does that tell you?
It really shows the commitment that the UAE and Australia has long held, and it puts it in stone. So I've been lucky to be part of a foreign direct investment tour from Dubai to Australia several years ago. I know they're planning one in 2022. Again, hopefully physical tour as well. So there's long been a good trade route between the two countries, but it just shows that the UAE wants to see that commitment in stone, and let's push it forward.
Carl, when I called you to invite you for this episode, you were busy. You were out of the country actually, and I'm very happy for this. Our business is coming back. Are they rebounding? Are you going back after Corona to the normal activity or even more maybe?
I would say quite confidently the world is starting to catch up with just Dubai and the UAE on the whole. I think that this has been a wonderful place to live and work throughout COVID. Dubai opened up very early, but they managed it so well. We've been able to live and work confidently that the doors remain open, and that's just a pivotal part of its success. So just recently I've been travelling to both Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Both countries are now again starting to open up quite quickly, and I'm looking forward to, of course, going back to Australia soon and further travels in Europe. But the one thing that is clear and kind of the centre to that conversation is that the fact that it's very easy to come to Dubai.
And the other thing, you can travel here around and seek for opportunity and businesses and business cooperation deal, right?
Yes.
The whole world is here.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking forward to going around seeing more of the Expo site.
You still have 5 months and 2 weeks.
Yes.
Or something like this.
Yes. And the weather is just turning on perfectly.
Carl, you gave the chair of the Australian Business Council to Krysta Fox, now the chairwoman of the Australian Business Council. What did you give her as responsibility? Actually, we will meet her. She didn't come yet. She is not late. You are early, Carl, for this interview. And we'll meet her in that restaurant and we will try some food of Australian food, actually.
And good Melbourne coffee.
Yeah, okay, that's first. And we'll see what she will suggest to eat in this restaurant. Tell me, what is her responsibility? What did you hand over to Krysta?
Well, I hope to have handed over just a good platform to continue forward. Krysta's been in Dubai for a long time. She knows the place so well. In the 6 months that she's been chairwoman, I've already learnt from her. We've had a great relationship, and I wish her all the best. I know that it's an exciting 5.5 months of Expo that we've now got ahead of us, and she's already done a fantastic role. I believe she was one of the pivotal influences to getting the Tasmanian wood as part of the pavilion.
Oh, amazing. The other thing that I see are the surfing board. Do you surf?
I've tried a few times. Okay. I've tried a few times. I'm the worst Australian for that
Australian, you are Australian. But I love how they are here display for everybody. It's something like you brought, the pavilion brought everything from the diverse that is Australia into this pavilion. That is amazing. And that's why people should come and visit the Australian Pavilion. Carl, thank you.
No, thank you so much. It's great to be back.
Thank you so much. I will leave you now. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I will wait for Krysta.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You brought your coffee. I was waiting for you with the coffee.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Go ahead. How is everything?
Yeah, really well. Thank you. It's amazing to be here.
It's vibrant. Did you see the kids? They are going to the pavilion.
School groups everywhere. Yeah. It's my first time coming in after the opening.
Okay. I've been here almost every day.
Right.
You have to see, even though it is very hot and people are coming and visiting the pavilions.
They are. And it's the energy is really different, isn't it? Amazing. Once it's open and people are finding their way around, it's amazing.
And it's starting to cool down, and we feel the breeze here finally.
Yes. Yep, we're being blown.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you for coming, Krysta.
Thanks for inviting me.
I was earlier with Carl, and we spoke a little bit about you and the Business Council. So you are the new chairwoman of the Australian Business Council. It's a non-profit organization of 850 members.
Yes.
It has been here in Dubai for the last 25 years. That is a big responsibility. What is your goals?
Yeah, so the council was originally formed by the then Consul General, who really recognised that there was going to be a need to bring Australian business leaders, Australian companies together. And it's really amazing, isn't it, how 25 years can have passed since then. There's been many chairs over that time. I was actually on the board when Carl was chair, and he set such an amazing example that when he invited me to succeed him, I felt that, it was time.
That is nice. You were not here, but he spoke highly about you as well, and he said he's learning from you. What is your vision? Because you took this position in a post-pandemic era. So what is your role? What do you have as strategy now? Because things are booming, are moving forward now in business.
It's interesting that you raised that, because over that period of time, some things changed. But let me talk about the goals. It's pretty simple for us. We are here to connect and support Australian businesses. The way we do that is by helping them to reach out into the Middle East region, so that we do that through our connections. As you might imagine, over 25 years, you develop a pretty extensive list of stakeholders, and you develop very deep relationships. So one of the relationships that's very instrumental to the businesses that we support is our role within ABMA, which is the Australian Business Councils of the Middle East.
Yeah.
So that enables us to connect with the surrounding countries and help companies to get a footprint not only in the UAE but also elsewhere. And then, of course, bridging back into Australia. We do that through our association with the Export Council, through ACI, which is the Australian Arab Chamber of Industry. They're extremely active, and we work together very closely. We also spend a lot of time with the Austrade team members, the Consul General, the Ambassador supports us, and all of the state.
It's a big
trade.
network.
It's a huge network, and when you're a business leader coming into a country for the first time, you don't have that network, you don't have those connections. And if you can then join a council and get that immediate sort of feeling of belonging and get that sense, and it's really the case of people wanting to help you to help your business grow.
The newcomers, Krysta, when they come here, how do you present for them the platform that is Dubai or UAE and the infrastructure that is here? Is it easy or hard to sell?
Do you know, I think actually what happens, Nufa, is Austrade does an incredible job of letting Australian companies know what the opportunities are here. When they get here, they may well already know of us because we run a lot of webinars, a lot of networking sessions, of course, through COVID. Much of that is now online. And then the role that we play is helping them to become part of the community. And I often say some of the best business opportunities that have been generated from our members have actually not been through us. They've been through other members. So we're the facilitator that brings members together. But in the end, it's members doing business with each other that I think is often sort of the most successful and resonating.
Expo is here, and people are really looking forward to this as a good platform to coordinate, collaborate, making deals. Do you see it as such? Is it really a land of opportunity, this area of 4 or 5 kilometers, square kilometers?
I think, how can it not be? How can it not be? I mean, I've been here for 16 years, and I've rarely known a government that is so proactive at enabling connection. I led the DMCC free zone for 6 years, and one of the greatest things that we were able to do was connect. And of course, the natural evolution for me then was to move into the Australian Business Council. So, as we look around us, and we have the most incredible infrastructure, amazing plans for the legacy of this site, but 6 months for countries to really leverage this opportunity. We're cooperating with the Expo Pavilion on GMIS, which is the Global Manufacturing and Industrialisation Summit. We've got former Minister Krysta Fox cooperating with the Australian Business Council, Oz UAE Business Group, and the AusBG, which is our sort of sister group in Abu Dhabi. So there's this huge sense of collaboration, and I think I'm probably on a daily basis WhatsApping with our Expo Commissioner Justin as we're ideating and creating connections.
I will meet him later on for a tour. Tell me, Krysta, what areas do you feel will expand post-pandemic and during this Expo time for the next 182 days?
Yeah. I think, we have to look at education probably first and foremost. It's been hit hard by COVID and particularly sort of the lockdown of Australia. We have University of Wollongong, Dubai here, we have Murdoch University, we have, recently a new Australian international school. Yeah. So Australia is well known for education. Post sort of COVID opening up, I can see, things will grow again, and we've learned a lot about our ability to still connect during that COVID period. Some of the target sectors: sustainable energy, food and agriculture, but particularly agri-tech, med-tech. Australia is well known for being innovative, but also infrastructure and accommodation construction. If you look behind us to the wood panelling here, it's what's known as CLTP. And so often there's a story behind innovative Australians who end up internationalising, and there's a story behind the CLTP. It was developed in universities in Australia. It was supported by the Tasmanian government through the Hermel Group. I met the CEO of the Hermel Group, Ron Goldschlager, 3 years ago through Australian connections, through the trade and industry groups, and 3 years later the CLTP is being showcased on the Australian Pavilion.
So explain to me, Krysta, it's wood. What is the difference between any wood that we can find and this one?
It's a great question. So a couple of things. One is that it's formed without any impact to the environment, so zero carbon emissions. It's created from renewable forests, and it's essentially multiple thin layers, so cross-laminated timber product, which means that this particular product can actually be used in high-rise buildings, or at least mid-rise buildings. So it's one of the first times that we have a product coming out of Australia like this that is capable of creating major disruption in the construction industry, using essentially
and the
renewable
showcase
resources.
is here in the Australian Pavilion. People can come and see it and try it and feel it and ask about it. That's amazing.
It's real Aussie innovation.
Yes.
But then, Nufa, there are other stories like a couple of young Australian guys who arrived here just before the pandemic to set up their marketing company. They landed in Ramadan, and they came to our ABCD Iftar event. At that event, they met members. They met the Consul General. I mean, how often do you get that opportunity? And fast forward 12 months, they're involved in the Expo.
Pavilion.
They're involved in the Expo project.
Very successful.
But it's very much a two-way street, isn't it? It's not just about what your business council does for you. It's also about what you do for yourself.
Exactly.
How proactive are you? How courageous are you to go out there and leverage those networks?
You can use the platform that is Australian Business Council in your interest and the interests of the other also members. That is amazing. You've been here for
16 years.
Amazing. You planned like everybody else to come for 1 year and 2. Okay,
same for 2.
The story of everybody
came over, with a company and really saw that it was the land of opportunity. But at the same time, I think we always retain that connection to our home country, and through the ABCD, being able to to keep that connection and do something positive for the country was really important to me, and of course all the board members on the ABCD. One thing I think is really important to point out, beside us we have a sports hub.
Yeah.
The plot right beside us. The Australian Business Council is a big believer that youth and young leaders can gain leadership skills through sport. And so two of the initiatives that we have brought together with the work of many amazing Australians is the Dubai Girls Netball Club as well as Viking Nippers. Now, this is where we're able to give them a platform for kids to come along, learn sport, learn leadership, learn what it is to be a team player, and they're going to be playing and showcasing their skills
just
on that
neighbouring
field,
this
just
pavilion
next door, and of course enabled by our Trade Commissioner, Justin.
Let's talk macro now. The bilateral trade between Australia and UAE is a little bit more than $9 billion.
That's right. Yep.
You think it could be enhanced? Because when I attended the event that is the UAE project of the 50s, announcing the 50 years of UAE and the next 50 years, Australia is under the radar of UAE and really eager to make this collaboration and this coordination even bigger. How do you see this in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me the overlying theme is that I want to encourage Australian business leaders to really take a close look at the Middle East. There's a huge amount of support, not only through Expo, but also through all of the collaborations that Expo has enabled as well with our trade commissioners, with our state trade representatives, with the business council. So if you are an innovator in manufacturing, if you're an innovator in the med field, in med tech, in agri-tech, there's huge opportunity, but also, Nufa, in terms of bilateral trade. I think we're sitting at about 13 billion in trade into Australia from the UAE presently. And I know that the head of Dubai FDI, Fahad Al-Gagawi, has visited Australia on a number of occasions, highly committed to that relationship. One of the things that's very unique, I think, about this region is the ability to be incredibly open and accommodating of any business person who is looking for opportunity. Of course, the UAE also is home to the world's best economic zone. I'm, proud to say my former employer,
DMCC, is one of the most prominent, actually, free zone in UAE.
6 years running named Global Free Zone of the Year. And what sets it apart, together with the other economic zones in the UAE, is the ability to connect businesses, to create truly this ecosystem of multicultural businesses and create a soft landing.
And the digitalization of the economy helps you to promote this, right?
Absolutely. So those, Smart Dubai, for example, highly committed to a single sign-on window to avail of government services. One of the most difficult things that happens when you're internationalising as a business, two things. One is, how do you know who you're meeting and starting to do business with is credible?
Yeah.
But two, how do you figure out the landscape of regulations and requirements? I mean, we were really proud as ABCD to say we're sponsored by DMCC and a number of other economic zones. But what they've done is created that soft landing for businesses so that there's less time spent having to worry about all the administration aspects and more time spent actually growing the business.
Exactly.
Which is what you want to do, but often you don't get time to do that.
That's the point of it. And they did it, I think, brilliantly. Krysta, we are here to talk business, but also to eat. What did you choose for us from the kitchen that is Melbourne Lane here?
I don't think we can go past a Vegemite sandwich and the famous Australian lamington. Have you heard of either of those before?
Never.
Okay.
And I never tried them also.
You're going to love the lamington.
Okay.
and you may need to have grown up in Australia from a very young age to enjoy Vegemite.
Okay. So I think they were nice enough to prepare for us the lamington and the
Vegemite.
Vegemite. Okay, I will try. I have no idea what is it, but we will try it. I think it's good to try something new. How can you describe the cuisine of Australia?
I mean, these are both Australian institutions.
Oh, how are you, ladies?
Thank you.
So
What's your name?
My name is Harris.
Hi, Harris. How are
Lovely
you?
to meet you. So I've got an example of something that is quite traditionally Aussie.
Yeah.
So we've got what's known as toasties. Yeah, so that would be the
Yum.
Vegemite and cheese toasty.
Okay.
The cheese is from Bega, which is a country town, and the name of the town is the cheese itself. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Bega cheese and the Vegemite it's quite an acquired taste, but honestly, once you try
I will try.
you never go back.
I'm an Aussie kid,
Yeah.
so I love it.
So you grew up. You're one of the Vegemite kids. Yeah?
Absolutely.
So we've got a lamington right there, which is basically a sponge cake. It's got on the inside cream and jam, dark chocolate on the outside, and desiccated coconut. And then the traditional Anzac biscuits.
Thank
This started-
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Harris.
No
Thank you
worries.
for your time. Oh, how do you describe the cuisine to finish the question?
I mean, I think Australia has become known for, incredibly innovative cuisine, sort of using local produce, often fusion-based. But then, when you sort of turn back the clock to more traditional things that I'm a 70s kid, growing up with Vegemite sandwiches,
Vegemite.
toasties, lamingtons and Anzacs. Not so refined, but very, very tasty.
I am going to dig in and try.
You must.
Should we dig in?
We should.
Okay, I will take this.
Now, the secret to a great Vegemite
Yeah.
sandwich is just a small scraping of Vegemite. So
Okay.
let's see how they went.
There's a sauce inside. It's not only cheese, right? This is the Vegemite.
Very high in vitamin B,
Okay.
we're told. So good for you. It's delicious.
Very delicious.
I have to
I
say
like it.
though, the cheese helps
Yeah.
a lot too, doesn't it?
And some of the taste of the Vegemite. When do
Yep.
we eat this?
Breakfast usually, but you know some families will have breakfast for dinner.
Okay.
On
Not my family.
on a busy night, right? Breakfast for dinner. So toast with Vegemite could be a good option.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it only for kids or everybody?
Well, I think it becomes a little bit of an addiction.
Really?
Aussie kids grow up having Vegemite, and so it's that real comfort food.
Oh, it's
so
a comfort
I would still
food.
eat Vegemite now, probably not very often, but the idea of toast with a bit of Vegemite,
Oh, nice.
brings me home.
Tell me about this. Lamington.
Lamington,
So it's a dessert.
it is a dessert.
We can eat it.
I think that the Lamington was originated to sort of,
Hi!
hi.
You are so cute. Oh my God, I love you. This is a colorful koala.
Yes, it is.
And this is the mascot of Australian
That's
Pavilion.
right. Yes.
Kids, when you come here, this is who will be cheering for you and welcoming you. You are so cute. Oh, oh my God, this is adorable. Look, amazing.
and kangaroo.
Thank you. This is his lamington. Yeah, I will try it now for the first time.
Invented, we're told, in Queensland
Yes.
in the 1950s.
Very delicious. Should I
Sponge
try?
cake in the middle, chocolate on the outside with desiccated coconut.
So let me try this. Let me try. You wanna try?
You probably
wanna-
find Lamington at most Australian parties.
Look at this. I will try. I'm sure you know it, and I will give you what I think about it. Rolling.
What do you think? Is it
Very
good?
delicious.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Oh my God, she's so cute. Oh my God. She did the whole show. Bye. I love this. I'm taking
It's pretty good,
again.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's very soft. Chocolate and coconut.
Yeah. When we have Australia Day or International Day at the schools here, and we've got all the pavilions, the Australians will always have Vegemite, Lamingtons, and Anzacs.
Oh,
so I'm
this
going
is
to try
the
the
one.
Anzac.
This is like
Oh, and it's perfect. Golden syrup, oats.
very healthy, right? No, really.
I think let's say it is.
It is healthy. Krysta, thank you so much for everything, for your time, being with us, for traditional, typical Australian food. I'm very thankful for this. You know, I think I'm about to be late for Justin, the Commissioner General, who will give me a tour inside the pavilion. Krysta,
You are
thank
going
you so
to love
much.
it. Thank you for the opportunity on behalf of the Australian Business Council and the Australian community.
So welcome.
It's
Thank you for
been
bringing
such
me here.
a pleasure.
Thank you. I have to run. Thank you. But please finish.
Thank you, I
Thank
will.
you. Thank
Bye.
you. Justin, hi. Thank you
Welcome.
very much. Thank you for waiting.
Welcome to the Australian Pavilion.
Thank you. I was with Krysta,
Yeah.
and we just tried the Lamington and Vegemite.
Yes,
It was
Vegemite.
delicious. It's my first time I try an Australian food. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
This is very colorful, and of course I noticed you have the tallest flag here.
We do. We have the largest national flag right across all of Expo. And we're very proud of our national flag, and we thought we'd go large.
It is the tallest one. You can see it from anywhere when you are coming to the Mobility Pavilion. Well done.
Thank you.
This is very colorful. I think from the start here we can feel it shows the diversity that is Australia.
Absolutely. We're a very diverse nation. We have over 30% of Australians are born overseas. You know, we are so rich as a nation through our diversity by having all the different perspectives and worldviews that make up the one nation. So very much like the UAE, which is another successful multicultural nation.
Amazing. Yes, you have this that you share with UAE, 200 nationalities,
Correct.
very tolerant country, and you have Australia as well. It's very diverse, very multiculturalism.
Yes.
And we will discover this, right?
We will in our first tunnel, absolutely.
The tunnel.
Yeah.
Let's see the tunnel.
Excellent. Welcome. Please come.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is what we call our welcome stories, and this is the first introduction that our guests will get to Australia. It'll talk to how multicultural Australia is, how rich we are through our multicultural composition, with 30% of Australians being born overseas.
Yeah.
So we have some young Australians telling their story right throughout this gallery.
These are their stories. Amazing.
So this is Australians from all different backgrounds who'll tell the visitors what it means to be Australian, and also tell some fun facts about Australia.
I see the diversity in their faces, and definitely they have different stories as well.
Absolutely, all different stories, and lots of information about our Australian Indigenous culture, but also about our cities. And all of the artwork through here is done by a young Australian Indigenous guy from Melbourne.
Amazing. It's turning blue now, like the blue sky.
Co-dreaming.
Yes.
Welcome to the
Why
Australian
Australia
Pavilion.
wanted to be
My
in
name
this
is Annika,
with this pavilion,
and if you follow
participating
me,
in Dubai
you can meet
Expo
all of
with
my
this story
friends.
specifically.
You can learn about
Firstly, it's so important for Australia to participate in a World Expo of this scale. The most participated expo of all time. It's a unique opportunity for us to showcase the best of our country. But this theme, we think the world, more now than ever, needs a really positive message about how we all come together, how interrelated and interdependent we are on each other, to be able to break through and solve some of the world's greatest challenges.
And especially that this is coming after a huge crisis that the whole world has been through, that is the pandemic.
And you can see how resilient humanity is when we all come together when we need to. And you can see that here at Expo with thought leaders, the best and brightest of their particular sector. It's amazing.
We look forward to sharing
Did you know the Minister of, I think, Economy has talked about UAE and how they have done a tremendous job fighting the pandemic. Do you feel inspired by that?
Absolutely. It gives us all confidence that there's no better place on the planet right now to hold a World Expo. Being in the country with the highest vaccination rates, the level of controls put in place by the UAE, it's a perfect time to welcome the world to Dubai. So you can see that there's no better time to have a World Expo in Dubai, in the UAE, to bring the world together. And in recognition of that, we have a beautiful story to tell at the end of this gallery, where we talk about how appreciative we are of the UAE for allowing us to be able to come to this country and tell our story. So we have this Gondwana children's choir, so an Indigenous Australian choir, telling a beautiful song about thanking the UAE.
This is specifically for UAE.
Correct.
In this pavilion. I would love to hear it or see it.
Sure.
Would you take me?
I'll show you now.
Let's go and see it. So it's here.
Correct.
We'll start now.
Yes.
So it's music and lyrics specifically for the UAE.
Yeah, so this is a message to the UAE, derived from our 65,000 years of cultural heritage, sending a message to the UAE about an appreciation from Australia to the UAE about thanking them for allowing us to tell our story in the UAE.
I want to ask you about the 60,000 years of heritage Australia have, but after this.
Sure.
Let's
Thank you.
enjoy it. Amazing.
It is really special. It's made by a young Australian Indigenous choir called the Gondwana Children's Choir. It is just really stunning.
I felt it's the story of UAE as well, about the father founding the UAE, and on the images, beautiful landscaping, diverse images from Australia. This is how I felt it, and the music is just divine. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's beautiful. Now we will talk about the 60,000 years of heritage of Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, the kangaroo. Am I in the land now of Australia somewhere?
You've been transported to Australia.
I can feel it, I can hear it, I can see it.
This is the Star Dreaming Gallery, and this talks to who we are as Australians, but how we've derived innovation from 65,000 years of civilization.
I need to really understand the 60,000 years of heritage, of civilization of Australia. Where is the best seat
The best seat is over here. The best seat in the house for you is over here.
So those are the seats.
Please.
Yes. Thank you. Justin is beautiful. It's like I am somewhere looking at the sky of Australia. What did you want to show here?
So this is about telling the story of our Australian Indigenous culture, but how we've derived innovation from that culture that's over 60,000 years old. So this will tell some wonderful stories about the sky and the stars and where we've come from as a country.
Justin, what is your message to the visitors, to the whole world actually, through this pavilion?
It's all about sharing our culture. We're incredibly proud of our First Nations people, our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We've got so much to learn from them and so much to share. In particular, how Australia has derived innovation from 60,000 years of unbroken civilization. And we really want to leave people challenging their perception or their current views of Australia. So when they think about where they're going to visit into the future, where they're going to send their children to study, where they're going to do business or where they're going to invest, that Australia features in that conversation in 5, 10, 20 years' time.
How did you count it 60,000 years of civilization? We always talk about 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years civilization, that they are in Egypt or China or somewhere in the world. How did you count this?
Yeah, so it's derived from what we've found through our archaeologists and the testing that they've done to substantiate that we have the world's oldest civilization. Some beautiful rock paintings and tools and techniques and things that we've been able to bring forward to the future and really understand what happened 60,000 years ago.
That is amazing how you link the innovation, all the futuristic thing that I have been seeing now through the tunnel and to here through the heritage, history, and a lot of thousands of years.
Yeah.
How do you do it combined?
I think it's incredibly important to learn from those that have come before us, you know, and to take on those lessons. And Australia is well adept at that. You know, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If we've got ability to share with other nations, share with our own people, but also learn. And bringing that together, I think, makes us a really rich society.
You are a country that is very diverse but advanced technologically.
Yeah.
How do you maintain your heritage as well? Is it one of the priority of the Australian to maintain them despite all the development that you have in the country?
Absolutely, and I think that's a challenge for many nations, but it's about bringing our Indigenous culture and our heritage along with our contemporary Australia, and that's about bringing those two competing interests sometimes together to get a better outcome.
This pavilion is a way for you to show that print of early Australian or early civilization is still there and will remain there.
Absolutely, it's a part of who we are. It's a part of our DNA, it's a part of our culture. We're incredibly proud of our Indigenous heritage and what that offers to Australia in terms of making us so much more rich, diverse, and such an interesting nation, and we want to share that with the world and encourage people to come to Australia and explore that for themselves.
What am I listening to?
You are listening to birds. This is a typical outback scene in Australia. So you could be in the middle of what we would call the bush, and you would hear all the different animals and the trees, and then in this gallery it'll turn to nighttime. And Australia is one of the best locations on Earth to listen to the stars.
We listen to the stars?
Yes.
I'm used to see the stars.
Great.
They have a sound?
We have what's called the Square Kilometre Array. It's one of the largest aerial farms, radio telescopes in the world, and it looks back in time, billions of years, to understand the origins of time. And it's really quiet in Australia where we can listen to the stars and listen to the universe.
You know, I want to sit here quietly and start this journey with you. As I feel it, I am under the skies, a blue sky actually, dreaming blue sky of Australia. Let's start.
Let's enjoy.
Let's enjoy.
Yesterday's stars, tomorrow's path.
Wow. Yesterday's stars, tomorrow's path.
Tomorrow's path, correct.
Did she say something that not in English?
Yes, that was in Australian Indigenous language.
What does it say?
That was yesterday's journey is tomorrow's path. So it talks about how we're continuing to move forward based on our history.
You made me travel through Australia in different area of Australia and in time as well. This is like a capsule of time, I think.
And this is precisely the experience we want people to have when they come to the Australian Pavilion, this immersive journey where they are transported to Australia and they can truly feel, see, smell, hear what it is like to be in Australia.
For this journey, I forgot that I am here in this pavilion in UAE in an Expo. You really transported us and the crew actually to Australia under its skies. And I think I heard the stars. Maybe the first time in my life.
Wonderful.
That's amazing. Justin, where are you taking us next?
I'm now going to take you to Annika's journey, and this tells a story through a young girl's eyes about Australian innovation and how Australian innovation is being used to solve some of the world's greatest challenges.
Let's hear what Annika has to say.
Perfect.
Let's go. This is the journey of Annika?
This is Annika's journey. This will tell the story of Australian innovation through the eyes of a young Australian.
Who's Annika?
She's a young, beautiful Australian girl, about 10 years old, and she'll tell us a wonderful story.
Let's hear it. Oh, it started already. Oh, that's beautiful.
Here's Annika.
This is Annika.
Yes.
Today is my day.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This tells a story of Australian innovation, about how we're sowing seeds and to regenerate the coral and the Great Barrier Reef to make sure it stays strong and healthy.
Amazing.
This is unique Australian innovation that we share with the world to keep coral reefs alive.
That you preserve the coral natural reserve that you have.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So we have robots that spread eggs to ensure that we preserve but also grow the reef.
Rainforest.
Great rainforests. People don't know that Australia has rainforests, we have desert, we have snow, we have beautiful coastlines.
Rivers.
So bees are critical to life as we know it. So there's lots of Australian research into bees, and we put small backpacks on bees to be able to track the bees and understand their patterns and their behaviours.
And how those chips live actually? How do they get the power?
Through the wings of the bees. So they're powered by the actual fluttering of the wings of the bees' wings.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We are in Sydney.
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 We have Melbourne over here. This will give a glimpse of Australian city life and our culture. This is a unique Australian sport called Aussie Rules Football, and we have a young Muslim player here who brings at-risk Muslim kids every year to the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
Australian astronomers are working with scientists around the globe.
This is the Square Kilometre Array, a project that's contributed to by 19 countries to truly understand the origins of time and the universe.
Wow.
This will now talk about Australian healthcare industry and how we're leading the world in 3D printing and frameworks.
Yes.
My future is up to me.
So the message here is a young girl in Australia can grow up to be whatever she wants.
Yes. See you soon. That's a beautiful message. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I think we arrived to almost the end of our journey. What a breathtaking experience. Amazing. So this is how the journey of the visitor ends, and our episode also. And I'm sure people would love to have some koala and some kangaroo. Which one do you think people would love more?
I think they'll like both, but I think they'll really like the kangaroo
The kangaroo.
with a small Joey inside.
I love it.
But
It's named the Joey?
Joey, yes, a baby kangaroo is called a Joey.
I
Yes.
had no idea. I learned a lot on today. Thank you. So the baby Joey and the koala. I love them both actually. It's very nice. Justin, this is how we end our visit and our episode as well. It was a beautiful tour. Thank you for joining us in this tour and showing us the beauty of the diversity University of Australia.
Our pleasure. It's been an honour to host you here in Australia and give you a slice of Australia here in the Middle East. We're so proud to be able to share our nation with all the other countries, but all the visitors to come. And I'm glad you enjoyed your time.
I'm sure you will have a lot of visitors here. شكرا لكم متابعينا ومشاهدينا على متابعة هذه الحلقة. الأسبوع القادم ضيوف آخرين وجناح آخر. تصبحون على خير. We can have a coffee?
Absolutely. Come and enjoy some great Australian food.
Thank you.